Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, Kemi. Hi. I have to stop looking at the comments at some point because if you're saying something and then you ask one of your friends in the comments, I'll be like, hey. I think my mom is joining too. That's why I didn't wear pajamas.
Mama Kemi today.
She will be somewhere, but she won't talk, but she'll be somewhere there.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So what's up? So thank you, Kemi. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that I have been on your neck literally since, in fact, before I even launched the Untold failure, the series on Untold Stories of Failure. I came into your, WhatsApp. I said, Kemi, yeah, you have to do this. You have to come and talk to us, blah, blah, blah. So thank you so much for obliging. I know that, this period can be, a bit tense, a bit hectic, but yeah, you still found time, to talk to us and, share all your knowledge and everything that you've been through, your challenges most especially, and I hope you share with us very well. By the way, Kemi and I went to school together, FYI, so she was at a pico, I was in Tyrant. So you can imagine, like, Kemi will play with everybody, but let the exam come. Kemi finished in first class with 4.999.9. And you wonder that, now, wow, what kind of brain is this one? So I'm really looking forward to hearing these challenges because I cannot believe it. But I'm sure, obviously, we already know that no road is smooth. We know that, we experience challenges. So I look forward to learning from you. And I'm sure everyone, the tribe members and, everyone is, here to listen to you. And thank God you're also a tribe member.
AGS for the world.
Yeah, baby. Okay, so please just introduce yourself. Tell us about your journey. And the floor is yours pretty much. So you can just freestyle how you want, where you started, how you became a brain. You want to know everything in total of the gist.
Okay. So hello everyone. I think you know me, so I will not spend too much time introducing myself. But I think for people that don't know, because there's some tribe members that probably don't know. My name is Kemi Onabanjo Joseph. I'm a management consultant, so I work with McKinsey & Company. I'm an associate partner there. Okay, guys, I don't have COVID, but I have to drink water from time to time. My throat is a bit dry. And so I do many things, right? So by day, I'm a management consultant. On some days of the week, I have a blog. I have a travel blog. I'm a travel enthusiast as well. I visited 41 countries. If not for COVID, it would have been 43 by now. But we'll take 41. What else? I'm a career. I tease one of the VPs on my team, but I'm a bit of a career volunteer as well. So I serve. I do quite a bit of, charity work in different ways. Now, less so in terms of many different programs. But the biggest thing that I'm doing now is serving as the president of my University Alumni Association. Carnage University. Which is actually it's a major. It's like my second job. But, that's something that I do. I serve on different NGO boards, some more actively than others, but, I also spend time doing that. I spend a lot of time coaching/mentoring a lot of young people as well. So, answering questions, sharing as much as I can.
That's right.
I write my weekly newsletter, which is the new way that I am actually spending, sharing my journey. This whole COVID season, every week I'm sharing a new productivity hack that I'm learning because I don't think any one of us has ever gone through this before. So, what university? Covenant University. So we're all trying to figure it out. And so as I'm figuring it out, I'm sharing with, my newsletter family to just tell them what I'm going through. I'm very authentic about my journey, very, very authentic. I'll tell you what I'm struggling with, and I'll share how I'm dealing with it, right? And I think that authenticity is also something that I'm hoping to share here today. I've never laid claim to be perfect. I've never laid claim to have it, all easy. I've had a few challenges, and I've shared them in different pockets, but I think I'll bring it together here. And at the end of the day, the whole thrust of this is that we're all work in progress, right? We have not arrived. Nobody has arrived yet. We haven't gotten to the end of our journeys. So whatever challenges that we face as we go along does not, someone said to drink water, thank you, does not mean the end, right? As I was preparing for this, I was talking to, I have a coach. My husband is my coach. So I was like, I'm talking about this thing tonight, and we're discussing it, over lunch actually today. And he sent me something a bit later that said, when you think all is lost, remember that the future is still ahead, right? So we haven't finished, no matter what you're going through, there's still many things ahead of us. So I lay no claim to having arrived, but, I'll share what I've learned so far and how I've been able to just keep going in spite of the different challenges. What else? I belong to the AGS tribe. And I think one of the things that really inspires me about the tribe is everyone there. It's a very helpful community, right? So for people that are professionals, and especially people like me, maybe that are in very niche jobs that don't really interact broadly, might feel like there's no value in it. However, I see that, whenever I need some help, I'm looking for some information, it's a place that I can go to, drop a quick message, and there'll be somebody there who knows somebody or who offers that service, right? And I think just having the access to that for me is like the biggest value add, that the AGS tribe has added to my own life show. And sometimes, just reading through the chat and reading through conversations, you can also just see how people draw inspiration, encouragement, and, the tools and the resources they need on their journey as well. My friend Stephanie Obi, people probably know I'm very good friend with Stephanie Obi. She always draws this thing about, point A, point B, point C. And she talks about how people are at different points in their journey. So this is the starting point. And so, let's say Ife is at point B, right? There's someone at point A that is trying to get to this place where Ife is. And Ife is there looking at, point C and thinking, I still have a lot of mileage ahead of me. I haven't arrived. I haven't done this. I don't think I have anything to offer the world. There is a whole world of people in between point A and B that need the things that, Ife has learned on her journey between A and B, right? And I think that is the reason why I've stopped feeling unqualified to speak about things like this, because I know that, on the way, there are people that have things to learn. Okay, so let's get into the gist. Thank you for reminding me. It's 1 hour. So I think the first thing about failure, and when I posted it today, I was saying it's a bit of a taboo word. A lot of people don't like to accept or think about failure. They said something failure, God forbid, it's not my portion in Jesus' name. However, I think it's really about how we think about failure? What is our perspective about failure? And that's where I'll start. Because I can share stories and just entertain you. But for me, the biggest takeaway from here would be a mindset shift about how you think about failure in your life. If you're going to do anything of note, think about, when you started growing up and you needed to ride a bicycle. Nobody got on a bicycle the first time and, entered Formula One. No one. Even if you spend time watching other kids in the neighborhood riding a bicycle, you could never have just gotten on the bicycle and started riding immediately. To be able to do anything of note, you have to try. You have to make attempts. You have to experiment. And as part of experimenting, the package of trying, the package of attempting, the package of experimenting comes with a chance of failure. Bicycle, you get on it, you fall down. You don't sit down there and say, I am a terrible bicycle rider, or, I don't have bicycle riding genes. Even though I sometimes think I probably don't have bicycle riding genes, but, you don't sit there and say that. You try again, right? And I think as children, we have, when we're little kids, we have a lot of, appetite for experimenting and trying things. That's why we put our hands in the fire to see what's going on there. There's a curiosity that we have, right, to experience the world and learn and try and, see how things work. I think as we get older, that curiosity wanes. We spend so much time being fixated on how the society thinks about failure, what people will think about us, that we don't even bother trying. And for some reason, we imagine that, if we try the first time and we don't get it right, then we have failed. I think if you don't remember anything, you can never achieve anything of note without trying, and trying comes with a chance of failure. What is Ife's mentor of life, Kobe, says you make 100% of the shots you don't take, or you don't make, what's that thing he says? You make 0% of the shots you don't take, right?
You don't take, yeah.
Exactly, right? So you need to take shots to figure out if you're going to be able to be good at something or not. And so the first push, or the first thing I want to leave us with is, you can never, ever, ever, ever do anything of note, achieve anything of note, make impact, make money, do anything without being adventurous enough or courageous enough to try. And trying comes with a chance of failure. It's just what it is, right? You make 0% of the shots you don't take, exactly. Winston Churchill said something about, success being, success consists of going from failure to failure without losing your sense of enthusiasm, right? And I think that sense of enthusiasm is what we have as little children, that, keeps us from just trying. We try to climb the gate. We do all sorts of crazy things as children, right? Try to climb the gate, try to climb, the shelf, try to climb. I think we're all just testing to see how far we can go. And that is the, enthusiasm, and that is the sense of adventure that I want you to live with, right? Don't limit yourself. Don't hold yourself back, because you think you might fail. Everybody has a story of failure. Everybody has tried something, tried a business, it didn't work, they tried another one and another one before they finally hit the one where they blew, right? People have, taken the first job and it seems like, I don't know if this job is for me, taking another job, and then, they move to the next department, and that's where it feels like their glory was waiting for them. If they did not try, if they did not attempt, if we do not even take a chance, we can never experience, we don't give ourselves the chance of experiencing success, right? So I think going from failure, but if you think about failure that way, that, on your way to success, you need to fail a few times, then you'll be actually excited about failure, because it means that, you're getting closer to your glory spot, Yes. And so I think that's the first thing I would say. Don't hold yourself back. Don't be afraid of failing. What's important is that you fail, or you think you failed. Learn what you need to learn from that and move on. Before I then talk about how do we process failure, and then I'll start going into examples. Mrs. Aoshika always talks about failure. So the first meeting I had with Mrs. Aoshika, actually, this was the question I asked her. And to even go back, how did I meet Mrs. Aoshika? Leading ladies asked me for an interview, and I granted it, and they asked me 5 questions. And one of the questions they asked was, if there's somebody you would like to have lunch with, who would it be? I think I was going to write Michelle Obama. But it's not as if I do not believe that I could not meet Michelle Obama in my life. But I just thought, before we even go and meet Michelle Obama, I would like to meet Mrs. Aoshika, right? Because I just found her very inspiring. I found her to be somebody that did many different things. And so I also like to do many different things, right? So I just said, okay, this is somebody that, I can kind of relate to. And I'd like to I'd like to get into her head and understand how she processes failure. Hello, Wami.
I said, Wami's Wahala. I don't understand why she says
Wami wants to be she wants to be in the life. Allow her to be in the life. Anyway, so when I met her, that was my question. How do you think about failure? How do you process failure? How do you move on from failure? And what she explained, and everybody who has been to live series, also knows this explanation about how, our life is really a journey from me and my lines. I can't draw, so I just do lines. Anything more than lines, I don't bother doing. So, it's from here to here, right? This is the length of your life. This is when you were born, and this is when you die. Until you've gotten to the end here, you cannot say that you have failed. If for whatever reason you have a dip somewhere in the middle here, this is not the end, right? You can actually, get back, keep going. Okay, you have a failed business, but that's not the end, right? Stand up, keep going. You go have a health scare, that's not your fault, but you keep going, right? Until you get to the end, you can't say that you failed. It's actually madness to, be in the middle of your journey and say, oh, I failed. We haven't gotten to the end yet, right? And this is something that she explained to me on that day, and it really resonated with me, because then I was like, yeah, the things that I thought I failed at in 2009, we're here now, 11 years after. I mean, we've moved on, we've learned the lesson, we've moved on, and we've kept it going, right? So I think it's not really about failure. So as I'm sharing today, I'm going to be talking more about mistakes that I've made, learning experiences that have happened to me that I have taken and then, used to move ahead and move forward. It is a failure when you now sit down here. You sit down here and you don't stand up again. That's when there's a problem. And then, you run out of time and you're still here. And you keep hammering on that one experience in your life and you don't get up from it, right? So I think that's that. How do we process failure? Now that we know that, okay, this thing happened to us, how do we make sure that we process it properly? I think the one thing that makes us distinct from other animals is that we have the ability to reason critically, and we actually have retentive memory. You would assume that, a mosquito or a cockroach that has seen his or brother die from being killed in the household will know better to leave that household and go somewhere else. But even if you almost killed it and you did not finish killing it, it will go and come back, because animals don't have that same level of, cognitive memory and being able to store things so far back and make associations with things. But we have that. And so in processing failure, the first thing that I would say is don't play the avoidance game. A lot of us play the avoidance game when we fail. I can't deal, and then we try to not deal by being distracted. Some of us, turn to alcohol, some turn to, overspending, some turn to retail therapy, some turn to all sorts of things just to not deal. It's important to deal, because in dealing, you will sit down and understand what happened in this whole situation. Where did I go wrong? Where did I make a mistake? What did I not do right? Because it is in processing that event that you begin to understand what not to do, or that's when you begin to understand what to do differently. So I'll give an example. I always talk about the beginning of my consulting career. I failed one test. I will not call the name of the company on the internet, but I failed the test. And wow. it was probably the first thing that I personally failed at by myself. I was quite between my mother and my father, the genes came right, so I can't take the glory for that one. And Jesus, and so I had never failed the test. If I fail the test, maybe I'll get 60 over 100, and that's failure, But I was just okay, and I kept going, university as well. I did good in school, thank God. And so I just assumed I did excellent. Glory be to God, excellent. And I think I just assumed that, and a lot of smart people make this mistake. I just imagined that I can pass any test now, because I've been passing all the tests I've been doing in my life. Then I now went to do this test. They didn't even reply me back. I felt so much. I don't even think I was borderline for that test. I was not borderline, because I just went and I winged it. I just went and I winged it, and I did the test. And it was one of my friend's sisters was working in that company. That's how I knew how badly I did in the test, because I was like, please, can you ask your sister why these people do not even reply my email? Why you fail so much that they cannot even put you in wait lists. It was really bad. And it really hurt me. It was the first time that I felt like a failure, to be honest. At this time I was... You need to say maybe what you graduated with. So I graduated in the first class. I was top of my class. I had my CGPA was 4.91 out of 5. Right?
That means so all A's throughout.
I mostly scored A's. I mostly scored A's, right? I finished top of my class. Some people are saying I shook Papa. Yes, I shook Papa. And so I don't think I even understood. I did not even understand what it meant to fail a test. How? And so when I failed, it rocked me to my core. I started feeling like, or maybe I was just book smart. I studied computer science, for those that are asking. I thought, okay, maybe I'm just book smart. Maybe I'm not really smart for the world, Maybe I should just go back and do my master's and continue PhD. Maybe that's where my glory is, and I cannot survive in the real world. Maybe, and all those thoughts came into my mind. Our junior colleagues are here. And that was what came into my mind. If I don't be angry, allow them, please. That's what came. I'm boring. It's okay. So I mean, I didn't fail the test, right? And it left me, it really crushed me. It really, really crushed me. But then, I think what I did, right? And this is why I'm talking about processing failure. Yes, it will pain you. Yes, you know, you will feel like, what am I? If I have gotten up. Okay, let me continue talking to the rest of the people. If I please don't beat me, oh, thank you very much. So, part of processing it for me was then to understand. At some point, I was like, okay, where did I go wrong, right? Where did I go wrong? And I was honest enough with myself to agree that where I went wrong was in thinking that I could show up without preparing. That was the biggest lesson for me. So after I cried, after I had ice cream, you know, for the pain, after all of that, I actually took the time to think and say, okay, what even happened? You know, it felt like a freak accident, but it was not a freak accident. With every, you know, challenge that you have, with every failing experience that you've gone through, there's a learning there. And so the learning that I took from that was always be prepared. You cannot wing life. You cannot wing life. If you want to do anything of note, anything notable, you have to be prepared. You cannot wing life. And that was the learning that I took from it. And so I always say when McKinsey was coming to town 3 years after, so I wrote this test in 2009, I think, 2008 or 2009. And McKinsey was then coming in 2010, 2 years after. And, you know, my mentor at the time, you know, said, why don't you apply? You people, I almost died on the line. I said, this preparation, I will prepare. I want to make sure that I prepare so much that if I don't get the job, it will be because Jesus does not want me to get the job. It will not be because of my own negligence or my own laziness or my own, you know, refusal to do the work, right? And so what did I do? I remember I was, you know, over towards the end of the year. I found all the resources that I could online about management consulting. And at that time, to be honest, there were no management consulting firms in Nigeria. So there was no one to talk to. So I went online, Victor Cheng. For those of you that have tried to do consulting, you know Victor Cheng. But I remember I even borrowed money from my boss at that time. I didn't have, I think it was maybe like $150. I didn't have the money and I didn't have the dollars. So I told my boss that I needed his credit card to do something. You know, and I just wanted to use it to do something. And I gave him Naira equivalent. I think I paid back over like a month or two. And I bought the access to the courses. I remember we were on family vacation in Ghana. I was listening to that thing morning, noon, and night. Morning, noon, and night. The audio cases. I was listening to it, practicing. Because of two reasons. One, as I said, I wanted to make sure that when I showed up for this new test or this new thing that I wanted to do, I was going to show up prepared. Yes, look over my shoulder, Ella, you know it. Look over my shoulder. That's what it was. And that for me was the game changer, to be honest. So if I did not take the time to process the reason why I failed that other test, take the learning from it to say I have to show up prepared, and then use it for this new opportunity, I might have ended up in the same place where I now did not do, you know, what I needed to do. I didn't prepare, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not smart enough. And it's a downward spiral, right? Because I think once you tell yourself that story about, you know, being good enough, and it just goes down. It never goes up. You have to really short circuit and you know, move on from it. So deal with the pain, learn the lesson from it, and make sure that you separate the event from who you are. That's the third thing that's critical. You failed at something, you're not a failure. Those are two very different things, right?
Yeah.
Because even after that experience, I went into the McKinsey process thinking, even if I don't make it, it's not because I did not prepare. It's not because I didn't do everything that I needed to do. It's just because it's not for me, right? And it's just because whatever, maybe they didn't like my Yoruba accent or something like that, I don't know. So remember to separate yourself from the event. You failed at something. You are not a failure. It's so key. Because on the first one, you failed at something. You will try other things. Because you know that, well, I might have failed at this, but I can try other things and maybe I'll make it. As I said, attempting or trying comes with a chance of failure. So you just keep, trying different things. I'm a failure means that no matter what I do, I'm going to fail. No matter what I do, it can never be good enough. No matter what I do. And then you tell yourself that story and it becomes your reality.
That's it.
You will find out that you will truly go into every situation thinking that you're not going to make it. And this is the expectation of the righteous shall not be cut short. If it's a bad expectation, you will get it. And if it's a good expectation, you will get it too.
Kemi.
You are what you think. And I think everybody has talked about the power of your thoughts and all of that. If you think you're a failure, you will continually fail at the things that you do. So I think separating the events from who you are is super critical. Let me give you examples of times where I've made mistakes. Let me tell you some of my money mistakes. Let me start from money. I think we can all relate to money. So, money. Money is quite emotional, right? It's a very emotional thing, and I think it's Faladurite that says money is a bad leader if you allow it to lead you astray. But I think that is when you have money, you can even be quoting quotable quotes like that. When you don't have enough money, you cannot even be thinking about things like that.
Yeah, deep.
So I was I'm going to talk about multi-level marketing and the mistakes that I've made in multi-level marketing with money. I used to invest money emotionally, right? The very first time that I lost money in this Kalo business was in 2009. In fact, I was trying to remember the name of the thing. I think it was like virtual reality or something, reality vacation, something like that. Something that one of my colleagues, I had just graduated and I remember, and it was like, oh, something holiday, they used travel to get me. That's what they've been using it to get me for a long time. So something about travel, maybe you will put money somewhere and then you bring somebody, all these strange things. And I don't remember, it was a virtual reality, something. I was trying to Google it, I couldn't find it. The reason why I invested in that thing, it was because I didn't want to look somehow in front of my colleague that I was working with at the time. So for me, the fear of looking bad was what drove me. I did not believe in the thing, though. In fact, I did not have money to own whatever it is that they were saying they were owning. I didn't understand it. But just so that it will not be as if I'm the broke person in the office. So let me too go and put my money there. Of course, I put my money there. If I just go and find that girl, I'll just ask her what happened with it. I put my money there. And of course, nothing happened. There was no return, there was no this, there was no that. But I didn't process it. I didn't think about it. I actually didn't think about it. I just thought about it as, oh, the thing blew up. Okay, fine. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about what my motivation for investing in that thing was. I didn't even realize that it was because I didn't want to look bad. It's not because I needed the money or anything. I just didn't want to look. It was like peer pressure. I didn't want to look bad, look like I didn't have. How many years later? When did MMM happen? 2016. I had just come back from business school, I remember. 7 years later. They got me again, MMM. This time, it was one guy that was toasting me that was doing it. Again, I did not want to look bad. Do you understand? This guy is toasting me. I didn't want to look like I wasn't capable. I was telling my husband, I want to get there. And I'm being very honest, because I didn't have any business in MMM. Because me, I knew that I could not bring people. MMM cost me, it was 100K. I minimized my losses. I think this is the first time I'm actually admitting to MMM. Because when everybody was saying, MMM, how could people do it? How could people? I'll be like, how could they? I'm sure it's today that my husband found out I did MMM. I know it's not about it. It was a failure of mine. And I think, and the reason why, and as I was reflecting on it, the reason why I did MMM again that time was because I was trying to look good in front of this guy. I did not want to look like, I just even come back from India. That's more French for them. So, it's just like, just bring 100K, just 100K now, 100K, and then I just put the 100K because I didn't want to look bad. I knew that I could not convince anybody. I knew that I could not call people. I knew I could not do any of the things. In fact, I think I gave him extra money to recruit people for me. But this time around, when this thing happened, I processed it. And I thought about it, and I figured, why did I make this investment again? At the time when this MMM thing now got me, I now remember virtual reality. I said, this is what I'm going to again. And I then realized that the reason why I did it was because I didn't want to look bad. I was investing with sentiments. See, people are not arguing how much they put in MMM or not. Don't worry, well, it's okay. We're not failures. It happened to us. It will not happen again. So when the new version of MMM came, because I took the time to process what happened with that, I can never make that kind of mistake again. Because I realized that the reason why I did that was, one, I was trying to look good. Two, this investment did not have an underlying asset. No product, no nothing. Forever living is multi-level marketing. At least there's a product. There's aloe vera, you will drink it. There is cream, you will rub it. There is honey something, you will drink it. Once get you go and sell it, you make your money back. There's a product, right? Oriflame, there's a product. I would never make a mistake like that again with money and invest in something where there's no underlying product or underlying asset. It cannot happen again. Never. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I processed the reason why I made that investment. Why did that investment fail? One, there was no underlying asset. Two, I was investing sentimentally. So no matter who you are, toaster, toasty, mommy, whoever, I will never allow you to put me under that kind of pressure again. And so even if you read it online, until it happens to you, I mean, you'd expect I'm smarter than that. Come on, I should be smarter than that. But because it didn't, until it happens to me, I did not receive the sense about how not to do it again. And so I think that 100K for me was a good investment in terms of, at least now I've learned how not to invest again. And so that's how I've been able to process that particular money mistake, right? Money doubling, if there's no underlying, I know they do. Please. And no matter how you say it, I've learned how to say no. I'll be like, my investment portfolio is not really, I don't have money for that kind of investment right now. That's it. And so that's one money mistake that I made. I know a lot of people made that money mistake. But people that did MMM are still making those kind of money mistakes now because they have not processed that. The thing is that if there's no underlying, you should not do it. And some people, the reason why they tell themselves that it failed was because maybe we didn't enter quickly. That's the other lie we tell ourselves. If we were the first to enter, we would have made money. Because some people made money, yes. But how do you know how many people have entered before you? Oh, no sentimental investment. That's one big money mistake I made. Then investing, borrowing money without using brain. That one is another money mistake. It's very emotional. Instead of borrowing money, let me just give you, instead of borrowing you 300K, I know that if you don't give me back, maybe both of us will not make heaven. Because me, I will not be happy with you. I will be praying against you. You too, you might not be happy with me about the prayer that I'm praying against you. So that all of us can make heaven. Let me just give you the money that I can forget and keep it moving. If you make money from MMM, and so if you can refund my 100K, I'll collect it too. We don't reject money in my family at all, So again, just make sure that you're making decisions very, very, very with your brain, right? That's one money mistake. Career mistakes. There are plenty. Showing up without being prepared, right? I talked about the test that I failed. And then, of course, you make sure that every other thing that I do, I get prepared. Even on our Instagram live, I write my notes, right? I make sure that I don't go into anything unprepared, because there will be people that are watching you. You don't know whether my destiny helper is in this place now. And I come and I'm saying nonsense, and they'll just be like, I don't know, she's okay, but maybe not. Like always, go in with a sense of preparation. The other thing that we do in terms of career mistakes that I have made is sometimes rejecting opportunities because you think you're not qualified. So I remember, and this one, God saved me from this one. I remember when I was working at Ericsson, there was, an opportunity that came up. And I looked at it and I just thought, it can never be me. It can never be me, In fact, I remember telling some of my other colleagues that, look at this thing, maybe you can apply for it. And that's a mistake that a lot of us make, especially women. We somehow disqualify ourselves from things. And we don't try because we don't want to fail. As I said, anything of note, anything of worth comes with the chance of failure. It comes, if you're trying, you said, I'm trying because there's a chance of success, but there's also a chance of failure on the other side. And so, I referred other people to it. And I remember my boss then was saying, I think you should apply for it. I was like, I don't think so. I think this is for other people. I'm not sure if it's for me. You self-sabotage, you self-eject, you convince yourself that you're not good enough. But just try. What's the worst? They will say no. And now that you have a good perspective about no's, it won't pay you too much. It will pay you small. Rub cream on it, take ice cream, do whatever you need to do to make you feel better about it. But know that at least you put yourself out there, and you can continue to put yourself out there. So in our careers, a lot of times we, self-sabotage, we hold back, we don't apply for things, we don't try, we don't shoot our shots because we think we won't make it, or because we're afraid of failure. Please go ahead and try. Men are fantastic at this thing. They'll say, somebody that just graduated yesterday will apply for a job that they say 10 years experience. When we get there, we'll be explaining it. Because it's really just a sense of, let's try. Let's try. And if you have that attitude, you will be able to do much more. So I self-sabotaged a couple of times. I had a few bosses that saved me. And will force me to sit down there, put it in. If you get to the interview and they don't take you, that's a different case. But at least put yourself out there and increase your chances of success, right? Not every time, especially now as we're getting older, there's no boss to be sitting down to be babying you again. So you really need to take the chance on yourself. You need to bet on yourself, right? and make sure that you take those chances. There are jobs that, I've seen on LinkedIn, and I look at it and I'm like, I could potentially do this job. But for some reason, I will talk myself out of it and not do it because I'm afraid of failing. And no matter how many times you've learned the lesson, it's something you have to constantly deal with, right? You have to constantly deal with. So take a chance on yourself. Just try, put it out there. I mean, have some of the things that they ask for. Don't wait until your pally is complete before you bet on yourself and shoot your shot. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Just, 60%, 70% is okay. 70% is AO. Sure, Sha. In Nigeria educational system, 70% is A. So even if you don't have all 10 criteria on the list, you have 6, you have 7, try, right? And put yourself out there and bet on yourself. One mistake I made when I was becoming a manager, a lot of us now we're moving into, management roles, middle management roles, is to somehow, I don't know where we get the idea from, but we imagine that we need to be this kind of perfect manager, right? I'm going to pause now and quickly answer a question that I've seen. Somebody said, what if you're not truly prepared? Then make sure that you start preparing for the next opportunity. I'll give you a good example. And there was a fellowship called the Madame Suave Fellowship. It was in Canada. And somebody told me, my mentor told me about it in 2010. And I looked at everything on that list. Maybe I had only 2 things. I was like, I don't think this one is for me. You needed to be doing community service. You needed to have, done some additional, you needed to have some additional qualifications. You needed to do all these things. And all I had going for me in my life then was work, church, home, work, church, home, work, church, home, work, church, home. And I just realized that my life was so boring. It was just, there was nothing exciting about my profile. So at that point, for that opportunity, I was not ready. I didn't bother applying. There was no point. I actually spoke to somebody who was on the program and understood where, because I just wanted to know what his story was and all of that, and I realized I wasn't ready. But then from that point onwards, I started living deliberately. I started finding things to volunteer for. I started exploring other interests and hobbies, and that's how I decided I was going to travel, I was going to see the world, I was going to, really expose myself. So when other opportunities came, I felt more prepared because I had put in the work, right? So if at some point you feel like you're not ready, that's fine. But make sure that you start taking steps to be ready for the next opportunity that comes. There's nothing like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fellowships come every year. Even if they change the president, another president will come and put the fellowship back. Scholarships come again and again and again. Even if you're trying to go to school, it's not as if you don't go to school this one time, you will not go to school again. They will open admission again next year, no? Exactly. So you have to now start preparing for that next stage or next level that you want. Think about, if I'm going to use it as an example, this Mandela Washington, if you applied once, applied twice, she kept applying, right? It's true. Once you just keep trying and you say, okay, what went wrong? Look at the profiles of people that made it. What was it about them? And if you now say that this person, the reason why they made it was because they were doing a project that was in multiple states of Nigeria. Say, okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I'm only staying in Alimosho local government. It's not working out. Okay, how can I scale up? How can I? And then by the time the next application round comes, your application is stronger and much more solid. Even for business school, if they reject you the first time, and you submit the exact same application the next time, your chances are much lower because they want to see that there's been some growth and some, changes that have happened in your application. right? Between that time. So even if you're not ready right now, start getting ready for the next one, because the next thing will come. It will come. And it might not come in the same, it might not be that same fellowship, that same scholarship, that same incubator, that same, but something else will come and it might be bigger and better. If I got that job that time, that test that I passed, I probably would not be doing this work now and doing the kind of work that I actually want to do now. Right? So other things will come, but you need to prepare for them. I think I was talking about being a manager. When I started, I thought, there was a particular mode I needed to fit into. And so I was managing that way. Then I got some feedback, and it was a embarrassing situation.
I actually want to know about that. How are you managing?
So I think I was doing like tough love, I was like teaching people what I thought they needed to learn, right? Maybe I'll be like, I don't think you're a good communicator. Let me teach you. Let me coach you about how to communicate well. Let me, and really just being very, very teacher-like, Teacher, if there's syllabus, you will learn. I don't care about your learning needs or learning. It's what I want to teach you that you will learn, as a teacher. And so I think that was the approach that I was taking. And then I then got feedback that my style was not inspiring at all. I was micromanaged. It's true. But then, me, in my mind, I was a G. I was a very good people person. I was a good friend, but I was not a good manager. I was a good colleague, but I was not a good manager. Right? And so I got that feedback, and it rocked my world. Hey. I was like, And then, when everything, when like everything is colliding at the same time. Around that time, I had a breakup, then one bad, I felt like everything. I was like, who did I offend? Who did I offend? Everything that meant something to me at that time was being questioned. I could have just said, this is how I am, which is what a lot of us do. This is how I am. This is not how you are. You can learn. It's something that made you become the way you were, and you can continue to learn. I always say that, to have a successful career, to have a successful business, to have a successful life, you need to have a growth mindset. Always have the mindset that you can learn new things. You can learn new things. You can unlearn bad habits. You can learn new things. You can learn new ways of doing things, new leadership styles, new ways of communicating. You can learn. So this is how I am is a lie. It's just a lazy way of staying where you are in your comfort zone and not making efforts to become better.
So what leadership styles do you now use now? So then, I had a conversation, right? I had a conversation with the folks, and I said, okay, what is it that I'm not doing well? Again, you need to process what is the learning, what is going on under there, right? And then they started saying, so why don't you listen to us? You don't listen enough, right? That was one of the things. You don't listen enough. You have your agenda, you have your mindset, and you're just like coming like a train. You're not listening. Sometimes I'm trying to tell you something, and you're not hearing me. I'm asking for help about one thing, but you're trying to teach me something else, and so it's not driving. The people that you're leading are not robots. They're people. They have feelings. Right? And they have goals and they have aspirations. And so as a leader, what you need to do is to be able to match those things. Yes, you should be able to give constructive criticism, and it's to say, hey, you're not a good communicator. Let me tell you why, your poor communication skills are holding you back. You have great ideas, but you're not able to explain it, and so people dismiss you. You are not... you have, fantastic execution skills, but because you're not communicating well, people overlook you. When I come and tell you that, and I say, let's work on it together, and let's try to make you a better communicator, because I think if you can crack this communication thing, you can do so much more with your career. That is a more constructive way of giving the same feedback about your emails are crap.
Your emails are nonsense. Your emails, they don't go straight to the point. What's going on? Same thing, different approaches, right? So I think being able to tie people's goals and aspirations and all of that to what you need them to do is super important. I think the second thing in terms of leadership style, I said, is listening. What do people listen? Just shut up and listen. And just ask more questions, Ask questions. Just ask. And you'll be amazed at what people will share with you, what people will tell you. You can't even get to know people if you don't ask questions. Right? So I think those two things, asking questions and then using that to make sure that whatever feedback that you're giving ties into how people can grow and develop is super important. You can also tell me, oh, your communication styles are crap. Thank you for being Captain Obvious. What makes you a real coach is that you tell me how to fix it. So even if I'm not a good communicator, I can tell you, oh, there's some online courses you should take. There's some XYZ you can do. There's blah, blah, blah that you can do. At least
it might come up very soon. It may come up in like 1 minute. But people should just come back. We're going to come back. So if you cut some,
you should try to save this one.
Oh,
try to save this one. Yeah. And we can probably do like another 15 minutes.
15K. So people have questions, so Kemi, you are going to be with us for an hour.
It's time for bed.
You don't know how the hour of flying will go for you. Just all the time.
Okay, so I think you should just end it now, and then we'll
come back.
Come back. Yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, are you guys back? Thanks for coming back. Thank you. Dami, I see you. Hello everyone. Hi. Okay, let me quickly write the topic. Hello everyone. Hi guys. Oh god, I was typing the topic and it was going
This thing.
Hi, you're back.
Yes.
Okay,
somebody asked where's Wami.
I want to love them somewhere. They cannot kill me, please.
Yeah, so as I said, part of leadership is also being a real coach is after pointing out, hi, Fefe! Oh my God, my friend from Cape Verde is here. I met him on the Washington something. She's here as well. Okay. So beyond just pointing out people's shortcomings and problems and all of that, take the time to help them figure out how to fix it, right? And that's what differentiates you from just, being this, manager that doesn't really help. The work, I think it's very interesting, but a lot of managers somehow forget that part of your responsibility is to coach your team and to bring out the best in your team, right, in your team members. Somehow we forget. I guess between the pressure of trying to deliver results, between the pressure of trying to, hit that target, trying to just live your own best life, right? We sometimes forget that a lot of the people that we work with are looking to us for coaching and guidance, right? And so when you remember that as a manager, you will then, take it as part of your job. It is your job to actually coach your team. It is your job to be able to get your team to perform at higher levels of performance. And to be honest, if your team is doing well, it's less work for you as a manager. Let's all be clear. There's there's altruistic, there's no altruism in this world. There's always something in it for you. So as a manager, what is in it for you is your team is performing well, you've coached them, they're delivering, you're delivering, right? And you can actually do much more. You can now begin to think strategically. You can use the time to do other things when you're not, busy micromanaging your team. So I think, one of the mistakes that I made in my career, and I'm being very honest about it, was just like being this micromanaging person. Feedback came, learned from it, and as I said, we continue to get better. Now that, you're leading a different team of people, that now that I'm president of alumni, for example, this one, they're not paying us. So.
Of course.
I have a team of VPs that I need to work with. It's a different kind of leadership style that is required for that, right? Because everybody is qualified in their own way and in their own right. And so, it's more around how do you build consensus. In that instance, your role as a leader there, or my role as a leader there, is more around consensus building, bringing all the different perspectives together in a way that people feel heard, people feel like their ideas are acknowledged. We might not do what you say, but at least we gave it a chance and we thought through it and we discussed it and we made a joint decision about what we're going to do. It's a very, very different type of leadership skill set. And I think just going into every situation, understanding what kind of leadership is required in this moment is super important. I think managers, leaders need to be aware that you cannot be one way. Depending on what situation you are in, even with the same group of people, sometimes you need to change. Sometimes you need to just become a volunteer again. You cannot just continue delegating. At some point, you are going to have to roll up your sleeves and do some work, given that this is where we are. Sometimes you have to stop yourself from doing the work, because if you realize that every time that you take over the Excel, you take over this, you're not empowering people to actually do what they need to do. They might even get lazy and say, she will come and do it now. Let me just put one mistake. She will get angry and collect it and do it. You need to also be aware of when you are, in the detail too much, right? And you need to stop and step back and allow people make their mistake, learn from it, and, do better next time. Sometimes you need to allow people make mistakes. Just make sure that it's a very low stakes mistake. You can see something and you're like, this thing is not going to end well, right? But sometimes you allow it. You just, allow it because you want to make a point around, this is the reason why we go through this kind of process to be able to achieve or to be able to arrive at a decision. This is the reason why we, think through the kind of partners we work with, because if we don't think about it and make the right decision, then we will be in this wahala. Sometimes you need it to happen. As I said, you can read all the autobiographies and read articles on Harvard Business Review, read everything until some things happen. Sometimes you won't learn. And so part of your duty as a manager or leader is to provide a space that is safe enough for your team to fail, usually on low-risk things, right? Let them learn from it. And then when the bigger things come, you can then, intervene, stop, people from doing things if required. I think it's the same thing with like children, right? I think parents allow children fall down if you are close to the ground, just fall. After you fall like 10 times, you will know that you should not go near a pool of water anymore. It's low risk. It's low stakes. You allow them fall and you allow them learn. But if you see a child is, at something that's 4 feet high, you cannot say, let them fall and learn. No, that way you're trying to kill the child, right? So depending on, whether it's low stakes or high stakes, you can also adapt the kind of leader or management style that you use just to be able to make sure that people learn and they're empowered to also grow as well. What else? Scholarships, fellowships. A lot of people are applying for scholarships, fellowships, etc. Actually, I was sharing today about how I probably applied for maybe 20 scholarships. And to this point, around too much failure. Someone was asking a question around too much failure. I was like, kilo day, Isn't that my star does not collect free money? I finally got one, but I just kept trying. So part of this whole thing is really about resilience and tenacity and just trying again and again and again. If you don't try the second time, the third time, you might not actually give yourself the chance of success. And I know it gets tough if you tried like 7 times, 8 times, at some point.
You tried like 100 times.
Maybe this is not for me, Today again, as I said, I was sharing my husband was telling me how he wrote one ACCA paper 10 times.
Imagine.
10 times. The same ACCA paper 10 times. I was like, what? 10 more times, but there was a goal. Without that paper, there was no way you could get to the ACCA, right? And he actually explained the process to me, which I found very helpful. What he said was, he was, ACCA, you do like 2-3 exams at the same time. He did it the first time, he failed, stole that paper. Then he did, another set of papers, maybe paper B, C, and that same one, right? Passed those 2, failed that one again. Okay. And so the way he was framing it was, I'm not a failure. I'm just not doing well in this particular paper. I'm passing 2 over 3 is a pass. Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Move to the next one. Do another 2-3 papers. Put that one. Failed it again. Pass the other one. I actually got his permission to share this story. I was like, can I tell people you failed the paper 10 times? I tell them 10 times. And my husband is super smart. Like, he's not a dull person. Super, super smart. Failed this exam 10
His whole family,
times.
actually, they are, in fact, even your children, they're going to be Dexter from the womb. I don't understand.
Dexter with swag, I mean, we want Dexter with swag. By God's grace.
Amen.
And so, I mean, he could have said, look, I'm failing this thing, maybe ACCA is not for me. But it was that one paper, right? And, at some point he said, he actually then, said, what is it about this paper? It was because there were too many rules and too many this and too many that, and it was just like, okay, fine. Let me apply myself and get it done. And then the next time he did it, when it was the only paper he did, he passed. I guess he could not come back and say he had 100% failure. So he did what he needed to do and he passed, right? But even people that are similarly smart sometimes fail one paper 10 times. Mm-hmm. And you just think that you can't get it right. But you just need to keep going. Figure out what is wrong with what I'm doing. People that, scholarships, I said I applied like 20 scholarships. I figured out what was wrong. Because I think once they saw McKinsey on my application, they just assumed I was sponsored. And so they'll just ding me. That's what I told myself, because I was like, it cannot be that I don't look like someone that needs money to go to school, And then when I realized that it's like, this is the national scholarship, they're not going to help me, I changed tactics and started looking for local scholarships, right? Started looking for local scholarships. Eventually, got one. Thank God. It wasn't a lot, but it was something, right? Sharing tactics. I figured out that as soon as they see my kids, they just say, "This one is sponsored. She doesn't need money." The local people, I did not have to write where I worked. I just went to beg for the money, and they gave it to me. And then I also then had to now find other sources to augment the fees. When you have a goal in mind, and as I think about this, my scholarship experience, and this my husband's ACCA experience, I realized that the reason why we kept going was because there was a goal in mind. There was an end in mind. For Palu, it was, I want to get my ACCA certification. So we're going to live there. We don't die, we live there. And we will do what we need to do to make it happen. For me, it was, I want to go to this school and the money must be complete. So I will do what is required to get it done. Which is why I keep saying you can't wing life, right? Because winging life means doing nothing. If there's not a big goal, big aim, big picture, something big that you're trying to achieve, you will get tired very easily with multiple attempts at the same thing. You will get very tired. And so, just think through what is and if you also separate the event from who you are. So for example, if you're applying for a job in a particular company, it could just be that they don't have an opening. It's not because you're not good. It's not because your profile is not fantastic. It's just that they don't have an opening. And they cannot go and manufacture opening because of you. The moment an opening opens, they will take you. And if you have that mindset, you will continue to, keep in touch with the company. You will continue to, meet people in that organization. You will continue to do all those things because you know that when things line up, you will be ready and you will be able to actually take advantage of that situation. So I think that's, some of the mistakes I made really around leadership. And it's still a learning experience, right? So how do you minimize your mistakes, right? How do you minimize your mistakes? There are two ways. One is, of course, as I said, make sure that you process your past mistakes and figure out what needs to change. So if you have been applying for scholarships with the same application, go and look for somebody that has a track record of helping people get things. Go and join a GS tribe. Go and pay for Ife's session. And go and change something that you're doing. You cannot do the same thing and expect different results. Normally, you cannot. There are times when, Jesus will intervene very miraculously. And, like Peter now, the same water, now blue, net, but it was not even the same thing. There was something different. Jesus was in the boat. It was actually not the same thing. First time he went alone, went to catch fish, nothing happened. The second time he went with Jesus, many things happened for him. Right? So I think you can't do the same thing and expect the same result. So process it. Try to understand where did I go wrong? And then try to find ways to get better at it. So whether it's, paying for knowledge, whether it's finding the right mentor, whether it is, talking to people who have been successful before, without bad beleo, not the one that says, what is doing without your application? Not that attitude. You cannot, attract what you beef. It's not possible. The way the world is set up, you cannot. So you cannot, be like, what is even in that application said? Please. You have to go with, how. What is different? What is it that I'm missing? And be very, very, open and humble to go and learn, right? The other way is to learn from other people. Go and learn from other people, right? And these people don't have to be, it could be, and this is why people read books or autobiographies. If you watched this is our Shika's session with Pastor Podri last week, somebody asked her what books does she read. She said she actually really likes to read biographies, autobiographies, and just learn from people's stories, right? And I can see that sometimes it's actually really good because you can learn from their mistakes. You know, when people are old and they're writing their stories, they can be very honest about the mistakes that they made, you know, the things that they would have done differently and all of that, right? I think that there is, you know, something worthwhile about that process. Because as you learn from their experiences, you will also begin to figure out what do I need to do differently, you know, in my own life and all. Sometimes it's just by observation, you know. Somebody that I learned from a lot in terms of observation is my mom. I see how she does some things. I don't have to say it. I don't have to. But I see how she does some things and I'm like, sometimes I can see how this would work and I try it and it works, right? So sometimes it's from observation. Social media has helped everybody. You can kind of see how people write, how people position themselves, how people do things. And you can sometimes learn from that as well. You know, something I saw, you know, that Tara does well is when she's talking to you, she makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. Only person in the room, you know. And so that way I can see how people are so endeared to her and how, you know, they really, 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 really love her. And it's really about how she makes them feel. So even as a person and in how I interact with people, I've observed that. I've observed that she replies her DMs, right? So, you know, I generally reply. If I see it, I reply. You know, sometimes I'll forget, but I'll come back to it eventually. I think the only time that I could not successfully reply all my DMs, although we're getting married, I could not. I could not. It was really overwhelming, you know. And I accepted the love. I was like, oh my God, you know, I feel so loved and all of that. But I could not reply everyone. I generally try to reply because I've observed how people that I, you know, respect and admire, no matter how busy they are, take time to reply their DM. So from observation, I've learned it to and I said, oh, this is something that I want to do. Right? And so you have to kind of, you know, it's not every time you can get mentored directly. It's not every time that you can, miracle, maybe it's in the other DM, that one I sometimes forget, sorry, I'm going to look now. It's not every time that you can get mentored directly. It's not every time that you can, you know, have access to people all the time. But by observation, you can learn things that will make you a better person. And so you have to apply yourself to learning. I've talked about, you know, growth mindset. Apply yourself to learning. It's so important. It's so, so, so important, right? Learn from your own personal mistakes. Learn from reading about people's stories. Learn from observing how, you know, people that you admire and people that you look up to, how do they behave? What do they do? You know, and learn from it, and it will help you minimize the mistakes that you make, right? Listen to them. You will find out. Oh, hi. Auntie Sai is a major hugger too. Oh my God. And a big supporter. A big supporter. And so I think learning by observation is a way that you can minimize the mistakes that you make as well. As I said, the frame of this is failure. Oh wow, I like what Jumoke said. Some things are taught, some things are taught. It's so important. So some things you will be taught, some things you will just catch. You have to apply yourself to observation. Don't wing life, guys. I mean, like, you can't be winging life. Oh, hey, it's risky. It's very risky. Your egungun will enter the express, and the motor would have dragged you. Think about this egungun that entered the express. Reflect on that thing. The egungun was just winging it, you know, winging it, and then the motor jammed him on the express. And egungun that is focused will be looking and not allow car to jam him on the express. And I know we laugh about this thing, but it's true. You can't wing life. You wing life, you most likely will wing it into wahala. Wing it into into problems you don't need. Right? You have to be very intentional and very deliberate about your life. Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your learning. Take responsibility for your growth. Take responsibility for your everything. It's so important. It's so important. And as I said, a lot of us have, when we start in our careers, we have people who are, pouring into us, teaching us. As we get older, think about it now. It's easier to carry a 4-month-old baby than to carry a 3-year-old child. Just think about it. Just too funny. Think about it. A 3-month-old baby is much easier to carry and rock and as the baby is growing and ready you to walk now, you to walk. As long as I say, me, not be press me die, So I think it's important that at some point you need to take responsibility, especially as you get older. You also become responsible for other people as well. So yeah, I think pretty much those are the main things that I wanted to share. I think there are a few questions.
I was going to say we should take questions. I was going to say once it's 10:30, we'll start taking questions. But since you're done,
no, I think we're ready to take. We're ready to take questions.
Take questions. Okay. So I'm saying, can I get a video? Yes. The video will be saved, so you need to watch it within 24 hours. I'll go through some of the other questions. You guys can also still send more questions now.
Iman said winging has put her in trouble. Egungu, up and down.
Iman, baby. As well. Okay, I think people are just commenting. I've not really seen.
Yeah, there are questions earlier.
Yeah. But I'm sure they'll send it now.
How do you handle? How do you handle team members that know more than you? I think to start with, the fact that you're the manager, you're the one in charge, does not mean you're the one that knows the most. Right. So if you even start from that standpoint, it might be that you just graduated earlier. When they were ringing bell for school, you answered faster. Maybe that's the reason why. So you have 1 or 2 years advantage over the person. It could be that, you've been at the organization longer, and that's why you're there. The moment you realize that it is not, because you are the repository of knowledge, or you are the encyclopedia of wisdom, is the reason why you're the manager. You free yourself from undue pressure. It takes so much pressure off you. And so what you need to do for somebody who is more knowledgeable than you on your team, that knows more than you, is to empower them. Delegate to them. Sometimes, of course, it might be that, especially if your organization is super political, you have to understand the organization as well, to be honest. If it's a very super political one that, once one person is shining, then they will take your post and all of that, you might need to figure out a way to do it, tactfully, do it discreetly. But if you have a team member that knows more than you, leverage on their strengths. Please, don't kill yourself. It's either that, or you go and learn how to, let me actually paint a picture. And so as I said, empower and delegate, I completely agree. That person knows more than you in one thing, right? They cannot know more than you in everything. So what is your own special magic? What is your own unique thing that you are the best at? Is it that you are the best at, managing some stakeholders, right? Managing some stakeholders at senior people, and that's what you know how to do well. And this other person knows how to do technical stuff well. Delegate all the technical stuff and make sure that you, when it comes to senior people, you know how to manage them and keep that going well. Identify what your own strengths are. and play to those strengths. That person that knows more than you in one thing or the other, empower them, celebrate them, empower them, delegate to them, keep them busy, let them continue doing that thing well. At the end of the day, the team will shine. If your team is doing well, you will do well. Mm-hmm. What's important is that you give the accolades to whom the accolades are due. The one that is not good is that you will be delegating the work and not be able to then also give people credit when they do good work. Mm-hmm. Right? I think that's the one that's very painful. When your boss is delegating to you and you're not, you're not getting the right credit. You're not getting the right kind of, credit and recognition. It's very painful, to be honest. So don't be that manager that, does that kind of thing and, will not give them the credit. That's not good. Don't be that guy. So empower them, delegate to them. Some people are a bit tough, right? In that they think they should take your job. But for the meantime, they don't have it. Why you still have it? While you still have that job, make sure that you celebrate your team, find out the things that you're good at, and do those things extremely well. And I think Galabomi said something. They said learn from them as well. You can also learn from your team. There's no shame in the game. There must be something you're good at. There must be something that you are good at as well, and then you can also teach people that thing, right? So it's a two-way street. So that's how I would manage people that know more than you.
There's a question here.
Yeah.
There's a question here. Someone said, at what point do you develop a more realistic perspective so it does not feel like quitting? So I think this is with respect to the scholarships and fellowships and stuff.
Yeah, I guess if there's a goal, you do whatever it takes. I mean, think about children when they want to walk. They fall down many. Said is when you have a goal and something you're working towards, you will be tired. There will be times you want to quit. But if that goal is, something you've set your heart on, then that will give you the energy to keep going. And sometimes it's okay to quit. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, maybe this is not leadership. Again and again and again. After 5 years, at some point, it's like, remind me again, what am I applying for this thing? Because sometimes we get into autopilot mode with these things and we just do. Why am I applying for it? Is there another way to achieve what I'm trying to achieve without this particular thing? Right? So I think, taking some time to recalibrate and just figure out, what is my why? What is the reason why I'm doing this? If there's no other way, then yes, keep going at it. If there's another way, then try something else. There's nothing ever there's nothing ever that deep, and there's nothing wrong with pivoting or changing, right? As long as you get to that goal. So if, for example, let me give a good example. Your goal is global exposure, so you think this particular fellowship is the only way. It can never be the only way. Right, so maybe the way to start is to first do, something across Africa, right? And then they will not be the ones inviting you to come and speak, right? And then you've spent, 10 years trying to get on this fellowship. A lot of these things even have age limits. At some point, they will not put your age there again. So you have no choice but to move on. But before you get too old, think about other ways of getting to the same goal. There are many roads that lead to the market. How do you manage weaknesses that are so glaring? And so that's a very good question. I think usually those weaknesses are glaring to other people. It might not be glaring to you as a person. So first step is, I think, making sure that you have people around you that will speak the truth to power, that will tell you the truth and give you feedback. And I know we always say, give us feedback. I like feedback. A lot of us cannot handle feedback.
That's it. You can't.
A lot of us cannot handle. We personalize it and then demonize the person that gave you the feedback. It's because they don't like me. It's because they are jealous. They are envious. They are cynical. I think a lot of us don't know how to take feedback well. And so it's hard to find people around us that will actually tell us the truth. I think as much as you can, make sure that you have people around you that will tell you the truth at home, at work, And so when people tell you about your weakness or something that you need to work on, acknowledge it and know that you can actually change or improve on it. And how do you improve on it? There's this whole thing around strength-based development, which I really, really believe in, right? I'll give an example of, and I think I wrote about this a while back. Cooking. I didn't used to like to cook. I just thought I could not cook because I didn't do enough of it. It was just stressful. It was just, So I remember I was dating one guy that had a chef. I was like, Jesus has answered my prayers. He went ahead into my future. I knew that I would not be able to this thing. And then gave me this person that had a chef and does not care about who cooks the food. But I knew that it was something that I needed to deal with, right? And I moved out, started living, alone or with my brother, and realized that you can't live on takeout. So I started trying, even though I didn't really enjoy it, but I started trying. I tried to reframe it from cooking is a chore. I reframed it to, I want to be able to feed my family nutritious meals at an affordable cost. Because if we continue buying food every day, it's not going to be good for the overall budget. When I do the calculation, caterers are making money in this life. So that's all I can say. If I have to choose another career, it will be one of the top choices of things that I would do, right? And so I reframed it and I said, can I learn this thing? I can. It cannot be rocket science, really, right? It cannot be rocket science. So I acknowledged that it was something that I was not very good at. And then I started making the effort and investing in it and actually getting better at it. I mean, I'm not like,
Chef Rex.
Chef Rex. That's even start from Chef Rex, exactly. I'm not Chef Rex or even Tash Bistro. Not yet, But at least I've learned from it. And I used my strengths. I knew that one of my strengths was that I could learn things quickly. It's one of the things that I'm good at. If I look at something, I can learn very quickly. And I said, okay, let me use this strength of learning quickly to now get into how, getting into cooking and practicing it, right? And also know that if I practice things well enough, I will get better at it.
That's it.
And that's how I use that
strength. What if you don't like it?
Again, what's the goal? What's the goal? As I said,
the goal is to eat, I beg.
The goal is to eat, but for me, the goal is to provide nutritious meals at an affordable cost.
And what if your chef is providing nutritious meals at
That's
an
fine.
affordable cost?
Oh, that's fine. If you're able to, that's fine. But I figured that one day, like now, Corona now, can you imagine? If I just be using chef, and the chef has a family, will I keep the chef here for 7 weeks, or 8 weeks to continue cooking when he or she has put to his family, right? And I think it's different for different people. But for me, it felt like it was something that I needed to do to just, get my own personal validation about myself. Nobody was putting me under pressure. And I said, look, I'm going to go and learn how to do it, right? And so I think having that learning mindset is important. But do it from a place of strength, right? So, what this weakness is, I shout too much. I'm always shouting. And you know and you agree that it's a weakness. That awareness is the first step to solving the problem. And then you can say, okay, what are my alternatives? So if parents that like shouting, yes, the parent has a whole no shouting challenge. You go and sign up for that no shouting challenge and say, let me go and learn what it is that they're saying that it's possible not to shout at children, and apply yourself to it and just try. I think, with trying comes a chance of success and also a chance of failure. But you cannot work on those weaknesses except you acknowledge it. And make sure that you have strengths that are shining as well, so that sometimes people will just forgive you for those weaknesses that you have. Demonize a particular direction. Go ahead. So why don't you tell me the question?
Sorry?
Go ahead with the questions because I've kind of lost track now.
Someone said, how do you build engagement amongst people in a group? So I scrolled up, so I'm just reading from the top.
Oh, okay. How do you build engagement with people in the group? I think you need to listen and then create a process that allows for engagement. So very practical things. One, what is the need for each person? So there are 5 people in the group. What is the thing that has, what is the common theme that you guys have? Can you build a common theme or common vision that everybody can be working towards? That's one way. So for example, there's 5 of you, you're in a group of, I don't know, and your common vision is, we want to blow, for example. That's our common vision. You will be able to engage people in that group every time you bring conversations that are related to blowing. Because that's the one thing that all of you have in common and want to achieve together. You also need to understand people's motives and motivations. I talked about this thing around, maybe one person wants to blow, but they want to blow, for them, blowing, or, it's about the number of people that they reach. For some other person, blowing is, the depth of the impact that they have, not the breadth. You need to find a way to make sure that you marry all those things together. And whatever we are doing is talking to 1 or 2 of those things. So, for example, if we're going to do a project that is about, Instagram Live to like 1,000 people, who are you going to call? You're going to call the person that wants to do bread, right? And say, hey, we have this project. I think you should run it. Because you know that their own motivation is reach. If we have another project that is, there are just 10 people that we want to, spend time on, coach, focus on for 1 year. You go and talk to the other person that is about depth and, going deep with a smaller group of people. So I think getting a vision that everybody can run towards, understanding each person's motivation and then playing to it and making sure that you give them, task, project assignments, etc. that speak to that. The other thing that we don't do enough is there's a process of building consensus, right? So as leaders, usually, if you have a group of like 5 people and we're brainstorming, we say we are brainstorming. What happens usually is that the manager would have said everything, and then the remaining team members are like, there's nothing more to say now. We said it all. And that way people are disengaged because you being Mrs. Know-All or Mr. Know-All, you said everything already. A good way to actually drive engagement is to be the last person to speak. It's such a hack that works. So, Ife, what do you think? I think this. Okay. Shala, what are your thoughts? They've said it all. They've not said it all. Everybody, before we start, everybody needs to have 3 ideas. So you set the expectation. Everybody needs to bring 3 ideas. And so people will be thinking, right? Because sometimes we get lazy, intellectually lazy. And if we have 2 superstars in our group of 5, we just allow them to do all the thinking. You go into a meeting and you're like, Shala and Ife, they're probably going to say everything. Let me just be pressing my phone, And that's how people get disengaged. You need to build a process and a system for, getting contribution from every member of your team. If there's somebody that always has the best ideas and talks a lot, ask them last. Start from the people that are very quiet. And this actually really applies to introverts and extroverts as well. Introverts think for a longer time before they, share what they're thinking. So a way to do it, if you have half introverts, half extroverts, send them the question ahead of time. Let everybody think before. And then when we come into the meeting, we're not thinking there, we're just sharing. That way, you're giving those introverts an opportunity to engage. If there's always a noisy person in the group, make sure you set up the process to say, guys, we're going to ask the question one after the other. When somebody's talking, don't interrupt, etc. That way you create a space for engagement. You have to be very deliberate about it. Engagement will not just happen. You have to be deliberate. And again, you have to understand what is the dynamic in that group. There's a big talker. It's okay, so everybody's going to give their ideas. No, let's go one after the other. Ife, 2 ideas. Okay, thank you. When someone says, don't attack the idea yet, let's just get everything on the table. And then you as the leader can then, put your own ideas last. Because what happens is we're a very hierarchical society. Once your girl spoke, you cannot say anything after the girl. My idea cannot be better than the girl's own. And we get into that trap. So I think finding a way to create a process to make sure that everybody is engaged is important. Even if it means telling people to send you an email, Guys, send your emails with your ideas. Don't copy everybody because some people are also shy. And then you go and copy everybody. Some apropos will now reply and say, I don't think this is a good idea. They did it in 1922 and it died. If you know that, there's that dynamic where people shoot people's ideas down, make, the process for anonymous contributions, let them send it to you. And then you now bring it and we discuss as a team. Nobody needs to know who brought what. So I think it's very different for different teams, but it's important that you understand the dynamic in the team and create a process and a system to make sure that everybody gets a chance to speak and be heard. And also create a joint vision that everybody can work towards. Yeah.
Wow, loaded. Okay, another question. Someone says, what's your advice for someone wanting to switch career 6 years now and still has not achieved it?
Wanting to switch careers for over 6 years and has not achieved it. That's very interesting. I think, again, it's very context dependent, right? So, where are you now? What is this industry that you're trying to go to? Why are you trying to go into that industrial career? And what is the process you've been using to try to make the switch, right? So it could be that you have been switching in your mind and you've actually not engaged. Or it could be that the way that you're engaging with this new industry that you want to go into is not the most effective way. So find people in that, your dream industry, and ask them what it takes. Sometimes what it takes is actually going to do an MBA. Sometimes. Because that industry is always looking for people from business school. If you know, then go and do an MBA. It's what you need to do to make that switch, right? For some industries, it's really about demonstrating particular skills. So if you're trying to move into FMCG, for example, and you're in, banking, and you know that in FMCG, the skills that they really want or where you want to go in there is sales, for example, then maybe you need to go and, against your own better judgment, work in the marketing department of the bank to make sure that you build skills that you can transfer into that industry, right? So that your profile becomes stronger. And at the same time, making sure that you are not just shooting blanks. Talk to people in that industry and, understand what is required. And sometimes you might think an industry is a good fit for you, but it's not. There are times like that. Sometimes you make the mistake, this industry is sexy. Like tech now, even me, I want to be in tech, as I am like this, Because tech is very sexy right now. But, is that the right motivation? Maybe not. So I think this particular one is very, and career is it's so personal. It's so personal, it's so specific, so it's hard to, say it would be good to get more context. But I think the advice is understand why you're trying to move, understand where you're trying to go to, what is required there, and see if you have what it takes to be in that industry. Sometimes it might mean that you need to change cities. You're trying to move to an industry, they don't have it in Lagos. Maybe you need to move to Port Harcourt, right? So it's really around understanding the specifics of where you want to go to and working towards it. And as I said, after a while, if the why is not strong, you will give up. But then really understand what the why is can also help with, you going the extra mile. Some people take pay cuts. When I was leaving Ericsson to go to McKinsey, I took a pay cut initially. And for me, my why was I want to learn. I felt like Toko was not enough. I really wanted to learn about multiple things. So it was okay, I was a manager at Ericsson. I was like, it's fine. I'll go and be a junior associate. Who cares? It took maybe 4 years to be manager again, but it didn't really matter.
Wow. That's a serious lesson there, because a lot of people would not do that. And look at you now, yeah.
Again, it's your why, right? Yeah, it depends on why. Why are you doing it? And it's important to be honest about your why. because that would then, drive you to drive the decisions that you make, to drive, how you think about approaching life. Yeah.
Wow. Someone is saying, hi Kemi, what is your strategy for actively seeking out growth opportunities at work, especially when you feel qualified, but the opportunities are being passed to other people?
I guess it's to understand. So it depends on your organization again. Some organizations will publish those opportunities. They will advertise, right? And then you will now send in your application. Make sure that you've spoken to people within the organization, of your superiors, etc. And let them know that this is something that you like. Demonstrate, why it's important, and hopefully you get a shot. Some organizations don't advertise. It just happens, and you find that things have happened. In those kind of instances, you really, really need a sponsor. You really need a sponsor, right? I don't know, a lot of you might have seen this Kamala Harris TED talk about how you need sponsorship and you need somebody who's going to speak for you in the rooms that you're not. So there are rooms that
I just started hearing about sponsors, maybe even this year. It's so funny.
Oh, really?
You know something. Man, you don't know nothing.
No, you need sponsorship, man. In those kind of places, you need sponsorship. When it's not a meritocracy, even when it's a meritocracy, you need sponsorship for people to give you opportunities to demonstrate things. However, I think that, in organizations or situations where there's a lot of, you need sponsorship, and it's not about sucking up to people, right? I was trying to look for the politically correct way of saying it. Exactly. It's not about sucking up to people and all of that, right? A sponsorship relationship is also a value exchange relationship, right? So it's really about saying, this senior person, what can I do for you? How can I add value to you? And then making sure that they know what you want and what you're working towards. A lot of us, somebody messaged me today and said something about my work will speak for me. I said, your work has no mouth. Though. I tell you. Let's all be clear. Your document has no mouth. You are the one that is going to speak up and tell people what you need and what you want. Right? Yoruba people say, is the child that open hands that you carry. Then. You can just think about trying to carry somebody that does not open their arms. It's too much work. Trying to carry someone whose hands are short. It's a lot of work, right? Open arms. So people need to know. You need to be talking about it. You need to be talking about it. We have 9 minutes more. My coach is telling me we have 9 minutes more. So you have to be talking about the things that you want. So I think sponsorship is important. I encourage you to go and read about sponsorship and understand how to develop and cultivate a healthy sponsorship relationship. It's very important. Very, very important.
Wow.
Otherwise, you're going to continue struggling, right? Because you think you're qualified, but do people know you're qualified? Or you're just in your mind? You have to be able to speak up and talk about what you do. Somebody that's great at visibility, Glory Ejozien, she's fantastic about teaching people how to loud their work, how to be visible at work. I encourage you to go and follow Glory, inspired by Glory, 9 to 5 chick. Follow her. She teaches people how to be visible at work. So maybe your problem is a visibility problem. People just don't know how great you are. And you need to figure out how to do it without being annoying. Yeah. I find a sponsor is important. Find a sponsor. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've learned so much today. And it's obvious that you're a management consultant because you brought out paper and biro, started drawing things, analyzing things, first cause for, the meaning of failure, why you have to go from failure to success. It's obvious that that's how you break things down, one by one, and that's what consultants do. So thank you. I learned a lot, even though, we went to say to our friends and all of that. I don't take your knowledge for granted. Like, this one has literally opened my eyes. I'm going to go and read more about sponsorship later today because I need to find myself some sponsors.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys, man. Thank you all so much for staying till the end.
Yes,
Kemi, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm sure you finished in 1 hour, but we'll be here for 2 hours. Thank you so much. Thanks to all guys for releasing you. Thanks for releasing you to come and talk to us about this. We all learned so much. We learned super. We're super grateful to you. So all of you that are here, I hope you guys will join the AGS Tribe after we do this kind of workshops. We have capacity building workshops. We have amazing things for women. And Kemi is also one of us. So we try to help each other. We also encourage collaboration. We teach you about fellowships, scholarships, how to apply, stuff like that. Soon we're going to do a session on ACAS for fellowship, which is something that is on right now. There are just different things, and we have a lot of things, packed. And there's nothing more powerful than a group of, women coming together to achieve a common goal. So join us. The link is in our bio. It's literally 5,000 a month or 10 or 50,000 a year. And we have to sell this market. So thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you learned a thing or two. This series, we recently just launched it just to show people that, if you fail along the way, it's not the end of the world. That everybody has some sort of failure story, but they still decide to, keep on going and keep on going. I decided to do this, in different, as the spirit needs, not necessarily saying once a week and all of that, because I understand that right now a lot of people need to learn a lot in this period. Once COVID is over, I'm sure we'll go and start doing it maybe once a week or something like that, so that it's more structured, so that people can just continue learning. So thank you all so much. I'm sure I said thank you 100 times, but I'm honestly grateful. I'm honestly thankful to everyone who joined here, from Kemi's page, from the AGS Tribe community, from AGS Tribe Instagram, from my own personal page. Thank you all so much. So, Kemi, do you have any last words, any advice to any one of us? Or
I mean, let's try.
Does your boo want to tell us something quickly?
Please don't scatter this arrangement that we have. Okay? Please. Don't scatter the arrangement. But he's here and he's saying hello. I think the last thing that I would say is, again, it's a journey. And we should not stop midway. Let's just, strive to do excellent work wherever we go. This sponsorship thing, yes, the fundamental of all of this is that you're doing good work. It's not as if you're not just trying to game the system, right? So let's strive to do excellent work, even when we're in jobs we don't really like, or when we're doing something that we don't really enjoy. I think it's important that we at least, deliver quality work. If you cannot deliver quality work, start making an exit plan. Because sometimes you'll be really tired and you're just like, I'm done. But when you're done, let's know you're done and leave. Because our circles are so small. Your boss today can be your boss's boss in 2 years' time. And they'll just remember, how unprofessional you were and how XYZ you were. So make sure that you leave a good reputation everywhere that you go, that your work, has a good reputation, and people's experience of you as a person, as a team member, as a manager, as a colleague is positive. You have the ability to make sure that, people's experience of you is positive. And I think a combination of that, having the right resilience, having the right mindset, and all of that will actually help you do, good stuff in this life. Thank you, Fair. Thank you for not allowing me ghost. Thank you for being tenacious.
That's the word.
Oh, so tenacious.
That's it.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I know it's late. It's 11 o'clock. I don't think I've been on a live this late before. So thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And everyone who made comments. I think I missed some stuff. I'm sorry. I guess, if I will figure it out and we'll keep it moving. I reply my DMs.
Yes, you do.
So I generally will reply. Mentorship requests are a bit tough, honestly, because, life is changing. But as much as possible, I think I will do as much as I can to respond. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank
I see
you.
you, fam. I see you in the comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Don't forget, follow AJS Tribe. Follow Kemi.
Follow AJS Tribe. Pay 5K a month. Follow Ife.
Sorry?
I said they should pay their 5K a month.
Yes, so very important. Important investment.
I'm telling you.
Yes. Mr. J is being with us. I will just share. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. And tell all your friends about AJS Tribe.
Yes, that's
We
it.
have a